everybody. It's Allie, the Canine Nutritionist from Pad, Foot, Palms, Poodles, and Pals. And I've been getting a really great question lately, so I wanted to make a quick video to talk about why I don't recommend multi-protein kibble. The first reason why I don't recommend multi-protein kibble is that if a dog is going to develop an allergy, most times it's to a protein. And it's to a processed protein. So if you're feeding kibble the way most people do, they have a tendency to choose one food, one brand, and they feed it forever and ever, amen. I don't recommend that you do that. And the reason why it's so important that that food not be multi-protein is if your dog does develop an allergy, and let's say you're feeding a food, I just reviewed one the other day that had 4 proteins in it, right? It had chicken, beef, lamb, and turkey. Now, if you're feeding a food and your dog pops up with allergies, the first thing that you're going to want to do is try an elimination diet, right? Because if you go to the vet, you're gonna, depending on their level of nutritional expertise, they're just gonna give your dog some, antihistamines and other available medications that are going to mask the problem by masking the symptoms, right? So your dog will continue to have issues. You will continue to have to go back for steroid shots or Apoquil or all of those things, right? You're not addressing the core issue. So if you're already feeding a food that has those 4 proteins, the first thing I would recommend is, okay, you need to switch to a protein that you're not currently feeding. Well, you've just knocked out 4 options. So now you're automatically going to have to go the next level up to purchase a more expensive food, right? Because you've boxed yourself into a corner by feeding something that's already multi-protein. Depending on what those proteins are in the food that you were originally feeding, you're either going to have to go to the next level up and try an exotic protein, or you can get a more readily available protein, say duck or sardine, but you're going to pay significantly more for that food. Now, to add another layer on top of that, it may be an issue of the grains or starches that are in the food. Now you've just added another layer of complexity, and you're beginning to understand why people get so frustrated when trying to deal with their dog's allergies that they just continue to take them back to the vet, spend tons of money on medications that then cause other problems. So if your food has 4 proteins, 4 carbs and or grain sources, right? Now you've really narrowed it down, and you've just basically cut your legs out from underneath you, because your options are going to be extremely challenging to find. They're probably going to be expensive, and they may or may not help, right? Depending on the issue. If it's a poultry issue, sometimes for some dogs, going from something that's chicken-based to something that's turkey-based, they can still see the same kind of symptoms. Not always, but sometimes. So you want to leave yourself wiggle room. This is one of the reasons why I recommend, regardless of the type of diet that you're feeding, that you do rotation. On a frequent basis, you can do every 2 weeks. On a more lengthy version, you can do every 30 days, every 2 months, every 3 months, right? Whatever works for you and your dog, right? Because some of them have a sensitive stomach, and that's okay. And also for your budget. But if you want more information about rotation, please go check out my rotation video in my nutrition playlist. That's where I go over all of the details on how to do rotation and how it's beneficial for your dog. Another question that I get in regards to multi-protein is about fresh feeding. So that would be home cooked from a complete and balanced recipe, or doing a raw recipe, right? people say, well, what about if I'm doing a multi-protein to meet nutritional requirements, but I'm doing it in a fresh food? Well, we're not seeing as much of an issue in allergies, specifically as it relates to proteins, in fresh feeding. And that's because the foods are not as highly processed, right? When you're looking at a Kibble ingredient list, you're going to see things like turkey meal, chicken meal, right? Those are proteins that have completely been broken down all the way into a powder form. That's a lot of processing. So the body doesn't always take it as well as it would, say, a piece of chicken or a piece of turkey, right? Because the body can readily recognize that this is a whole food ingredient and then digest it and use it appropriately. So while we do see some allergies in fresh feeding, I'm not implying that we don't, it's not as much of a concern when it comes to a multi-protein. So let's say that you found a kibble that has some great ingredients, that has a guaranteed analysis that's looking pretty good based on your dog's needs, and it's on sale, right? And it's some kind of great holiday sale that only comes once in a while, and you can get a big bag of it, and this is really going to help stretch your budget. Could you feed a multi-protein kibble for that one bag of food? The answer is yes. Assuming that your dog doesn't have issues, you could absolutely put a multi-protein into your rotation. What I don't want you to do is I don't want you to get on that food, stay on that food, and that's all you feed forever and ever, right? Because that would not be ideal. So I hope that this video better explained the need for rotation and the need for keeping those proteins to a single protein, especially if you're opting to feed a kibble diet. If you found this video helpful, give me a thumbs up. If not, give me a thumbs down. That's okay too. If you'd like to see more videos like this, then definitely let me know down in the comments below. And I hope to see you in the next one. Have a great day.